So I am in Mallorca, Spain. This is the second time in 2014. I'm doing a long trip here, like 6 weeks, and I just got settled in. So that's why things look a little different in the background. I wanted to talk about a movie that I saw on the way here on the plane called Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. It was from like a couple of years ago. I'd never seen it. And there was, I guess the main character Ewan McGregor plays, is supposed to have Asperger syndrome. He's an expert in anything to do with like fish and fishing and all that. And what's interesting, first of all, is I didn't even really pick up that he was supposed to have Asperger's. Like, I don't know, that wasn't a good sign. Like, it didn't really seem real or resonate. I didn't know ahead of time. I didn't know that he was supposed to be considered as having Asperger's. The only reason I knew is because there's a comment where she says to him something like, I can't remember the way it was said, but like implies that he has Asperger's, but she's kind of nasty about it, like saying kind of what a jerk he is, and that like the only excuse would be that he had some form of Asperger syndrome, but like she's saying this like she's yelling kind of and very insulting. And he says something to the effect of, well, the good thing about people with Asperger's is that it's really hard to hurt our feelings, or it's impossible to hurt our feelings. So that was the first part of the movie that I really knew that he was supposed to have Asperger syndrome. And I was shocked by this comment. I'm thinking, who in the world wrote this, and do they have any clue whatsoever? Like, I don't know. I was just shocked. And it really bothers me when there's, portrayals in movies that are just really off base. So I guess I can only share my perspective on this comment. Maybe yours is different, but what do I want to say about this? I was trying to understand maybe where they're coming from. The only thing I could think of is that I think having some sort of, pervasive developmental disorder, autistic spectrum, wiring, we can miss that somebody is insulting us, I think. Like, that's been my situation, that I am not always understanding that somebody is being nasty or inconsiderate. Like, one time, a man said something really inappropriate to me, and I was telling a friend of mine, because I was just like really a little unnerved about the whole interaction. And I told her what he said, and she's like, that is really disrespectful. And that hadn't really occurred to me. Like, and then after she said that, I'm like, oh, really interesting. Yeah, okay, I guess I can see that. And so that's maybe the only thing I could think of that would be remotely, similar to what they're saying. But I think that's complete nonsense that you can't hurt their feelings or offend them. Are you crazy? I mean, personally, I am so sensitive to criticism, and I think a lot of us have been through so much in terms of being put down or bullied, or even just feeling within ourselves that something's off, that, we're not, I don't know, normal is how I felt. I always felt like I was defective. And whenever I would have somebody say something to me that kind of mirrored that for me, like they would say something like, oh, you're so childlike, you're so naive, look how you are being, look, like a lot of comments like that, it would really cut deep, and it really hurts. And also, because I'm so sensitive to energy, I can pick up on those things. Like, it's like in my Sixth Sense video, I talk about how Rudy Simone says we miss the obvious and see what's not obvious. So I might miss an obvious offensive comment, but I can pick up those like undertones and get my feelings really hurt. But I think a lot of times I have a hard time really kind of making sense of it in myself, or believing it, or processing it. So, I don't know if other people, I can't imagine that there are people out there that are on the autism spectrum that would say, oh, you can't hurt my feelings. I know I read John Robison's book, and I've seen different things that he's done, and he talks about a lot of the pain that he felt. Even though he clearly was missing a lot of things that were going on around him and not understanding, he really, he suffered too. And I kind of think of him as having a slightly different manifestation of it than I do. So, anyway, I don't know. And by the way, I will just say that it was also just a really bad movie, really poorly made, and not good. I had a few choices on the plane over, and so that was the one that won out. Anyway, I would love your guys' thoughts. What do you think? Did you see that movie? Definitely share below. Thanks.